Every cigarette filter made with European cellulose acetate looks identical to the material inside a Russian cruise missile. That's not a coincidence, that's the supply chain. European companies are making the material, tobacco middlemen are moving it. Russia's Perm Powder Plant, sanctioned and blacklisted, is receiving it anyway. Western cigarettes, Russian Kalibr missiles. Ukraine is paying the price. A new investigation has revealed how European-made materials continue to feed Russia's war machine, despite years of sweeping Western sanctions aimed at cutting off military supply chains. According to findings published by StateWatch and United24 Media, Russia is using imported raw materials sourced from European companies to produce key military equipment, including cruise missiles. At the center of the investigation is cellulose acetate, a chemical widely used in cigarette filters, but also critical in the production of gunpowder and rocket fuel. Documents show that this material, produced by the European company Cerdia, is being routed through intermediaries in the tobacco sector before reaching Russia's defense industry. The supply chain leads directly to the Perm Powder Plant, a sanctioned state enterprise that manufactures rocket fuel and plays a crucial role in the production of the Kalibr missile. Despite European Union sanctions targeting the facility, at least 30 tons of cellulose acetate linked to Cerdia reportedly reached the plant. Internal documents, including contracts and customs data, outline a complex network of intermediaries enabling the transfers. One key player identified is A2 Group LLC, which sources materials from civilian tobacco firms and redirects them into military production channels. Russian companies such as Gulbakars, Rus LLC, and Sertov LLC are also implicated, importing millions of dollars worth of these materials since the start of the full-scale war. Further evidence includes correspondence between the Perm Powder Plant and NPO Novator, a subsidiary of the Almaz-Antey defense conglomerate. The documents acknowledge Russia's reliance on foreign-supplied cellulose acetate due to the absence of domestic alternatives. The implications extend beyond a single weapons system. Investigators found that cellulose derivatives are used in a range of Russian military hardware, including guided aerial bombs such as the KAB-500 and KAB-1500, air defense systems like the S-300 and Buk, and even the Yars intercontinental ballistic missile. The findings point to a broader pattern of sanctions evasion. Materials are legally imported into Russia through civilian channels, purchased by intermediaries, and then diverted to military facilities. This multi-layered system allows Moscow to maintain production despite restrictions. A previous investigation by the Kyiv Independent had already highlighted how industrial chemicals continue to reach Russia through loopholes in European sanctions frameworks. Together, these reports underscore a persistent gap between policy and enforcement. As the war continues, the evidence suggests that global supply chains remain deeply entangled in Russia's defense production. And as long as dual-use materials can move through indirect routes, sanctions alone may struggle to fully disrupt Moscow's military capabilities. A new layer is being added to the widening conflict, one that stretches far beyond the Middle East and deep into the geopolitical rivalry shaping Europe. According to Western intelligence assessments cited by the Financial Times, Russia is nearing completion of a phased shipment of drones, medicine, and food to Iran. The deliveries, which reportedly began in early March 2026, are expected to conclude by the end of the month, signaling a significant escalation in Moscow's support for Tehran. Senior officials from both countries are said to have initiated secret discussions on drone transfers just days after US and Israeli strikes on Iran. While Moscow has long provided Tehran with intelligence support, including satellite imagery and targeting data, the transfer of weaponized drones would mark the first clear indication of direct lethal aid since the conflict began. Publicly, the Kremlin has downplayed the reports. Despite the denial, Western officials suggest the move is part of a broader strategy to stabilize Iran's military capabilities and reinforce the regime politically at a time of mounting pressure. Asked about the shipment of drones, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told the Financial Times,
"There are a lot of fakes going around right now. One thing is true. We are continuing our dialogue with the Iranian leadership."
Iran's reliance on drone warfare is well established. Since the outbreak of hostilities, Tehran has deployed more than 3,000 one-way attack drones across the region, using them to strike military and infrastructure targets. These systems, often low-cost and mass-produced, have become central to Iran's asymmetric warfare doctrine. Russia, for its part, has been manufacturing its own variants based on Iranian designs since 2023, adapting them for use in Ukraine with enhanced payloads and improved evasion capabilities. Analysts believe Iran could be seeking advanced Russian models, potentially including variants similar to the Geran-2, to upgrade its existing fleet or reverse engineer improvements into domestic systems. The Geran-2 drone is based on the Iranian Shahed Man-36.
They don't need more drones, they need better drones. They are after the more advanced capabilities.
Analysts say the advanced Russian weaponry could also improve the effectiveness of Iranian drone strikes, especially if Tehran did not have the time to integrate that technology into its domestic systems.
The Russians dramatically improved the Shaheds, including modifications to the engines, navigation, and anti-jamming capabilities. So, these systems are already more advanced than the ones Iran was producing domestically.
At the same time, Tehran has reportedly sought more advanced air defense systems from Moscow. While a deal has been reached for the delivery of Verba missile systems and associated launch units, Russia has so far declined to supply the more sophisticated S-400 platform, wary of triggering a direct escalation with the United States. The evolving partnership is not without constraints. Although Russia and Iran signed a strategic cooperation agreement last year, it stops short of a formal mutual defense pact, reflecting the limits of their alignment. Complicating matters further, Israel has already moved to disrupt this growing cooperation. Recent strikes targeting supply routes across the Caspian Sea underscore a clear intent to sever the logistical links between Moscow and Tehran. And as weapons, intelligence, and strategy begin to flow more freely between these fronts, the risk is no longer just escalation, it is an entanglement on a global scale.